Mr. Jayant Sinha, speaking exclusively to ET now. Sir, my first question to you is the insolvency bill also talks about promoters being debarred from public office. Do you think that's actually overarching, given the sense that promoters, of course, are not bankrupt by choice, but due to circumstances beyond their control?
No, I think we have to make sure that people don't engage in the wrong kinds of behaviors, and there has to be something that prevents them from doing that. You have to understand that as far as the bankruptcy process is concerned, that can be preempted. It can be done voluntarily. So there are many ways that you can avoid being in default and being in bankruptcy. If that does happen, it does demonstrate, as far as the promoter is concerned, I would say a lack of responsibility, and therefore we do believe that there should be some consequences for that.
The NPA problem currently is extremely huge. How will this actually tackle the entire NPA mess, and how will it actually go about distinguishing between willful defaulters and those that suffer due to an economic downturn?
The current NPA problem, of course, we are dealing with it at multiple levels. As you know, we are trying to deal with stress in various industries. We've worked with the RBI on the asset quality review and then the stress testing. We are going through the recognition and provisioning process. And of course, we are looking for more permanent, long-term structural ways to avoid NPAs, and that's where the bankruptcy process comes into play. Our thinking is that as the bankruptcy ecosystem, this infrastructure comes into force over the next year or two, then we think the likelihood of NPAs will in fact go down quite a bit because of course, as I've said earlier as well, there will be the ability to do a preemptive default. Creditor rights will be much stronger, and so promoters will be less reluctant to pay up, and so on. And so therefore what we see, this bankruptcy legislation, which is a transformational legislation for India to really prevent NPAs in the future and help us in working through resolution very quickly.
The bill talks about attaching foreign assets of bankrupt promoters, seizing them as well. How realistic is it? Is it even possible? Will money actually flow?
It's increasingly becoming more realistic. As you know, we have been working through the G20, the OECD, as well as with the UN, and all these multilateral fora that we are working with are working very closely and collaboratively together to ensure that cross-border issues of hidden income, hidden assets, bankruptcy are resolved in a smooth way. And what they have told us is that if we have good legislation in India and we follow due process of law, then it becomes easier for them to cooperate with us and work with us in the attachment process. So that's why this legislation is so vitally important for that as well.
How integral or how intrinsic important is it to also have judicial reform to go hand in hand for this to actually have the desired consequences?
Judicial reform is very important, and of course, as you know, we are working hard on that as well. We are adding capacity as far as the DRTs are concerned. We are trying to make the DRT process much more friendly for stakeholders. We are trying to take the whole DRT process online. So in all of these ways, we are trying to make all these different processes much more efficient and much more effective.
My last question to you, sir. This bill also has to pass the test of the August House, where of course there is stalemate, and could this really be the casualty of the animosity that exists right now between opposition and treasury?
Well, the August House has become, as you know, the Augusta House, but nonetheless, I think the approach that we've adopted to have a joint committee of Parliament with both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members, and then to take their excellent recommendations and accept them in toto, I think has built strong support and ownership across the aisle for this. And so we're very hopeful that
insurance took 6 months. So.
That we're very hopeful that early next week we'll be able to pass bankruptcy and make this transformational legislation law in the country.
Thank you so much.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.